Whether it's cold-blooded murder, drug trafficking or robbery, it looks like there's no shortage of people ready to go to an extreme level when it comes to satisfying their needs or just to keep business going. However, 99% of times the word crime is mentioned we think about men, but if you think it's only men who can commit crimes, think again, because women are also a big part of it since the very beginning. In this video, I'm going to show you the 10 most infamous female criminals in history. Number 10, Sandra Avila Beltran. Born on the 16th of October 1960. Beltran was a Mexican drug cartel member, dubbed La Reina del Pacifico, meaning the Queen of the Pacific. She got involved in heroin smuggling in the 1970s and later diversified into cocaine. DEA officials state that Avila never shrank from employing the violence that comes with the turf and that she used the typical intimidation tactics of Mexican organizations. I will leave those tactics up to your imagination. She was married twice. Both of her husbands were ex-police commanders who became drug traffickers, and both were later killed by hired assassins, quite ironic. Her rise to power in the drug world is primarily attributed to her most recent relationship with Juan Diego Espinosa Ramirez, alias the Tiger, who is said to be an important figure in the Colombian Norte del Valle cartel. Avila lived in Guadalajara, Jalisco, and Hermosillo, Sonora until the police found more than 9 tons of cocaine on a ship in the Pacific port of Manzanillo, Colima in 2001 and tracked the shipment to her and her lover Espinosa Ramirez. They were both arrested on the 28th of September 2007 in Mexico City. She was charged with and convicted of laundering money for billions of dollars worth of drugs smuggled from Colombia to Mexico. All of the drug charges were dropped in early 2011 and was released in 2014 after spending 7 years behind bars. Netflix made a TV series about her life story called The Queen of the South. Number 9, Patty Hearst. The story of Patty Hearst is a fascinating one. She is the granddaughter of American publishing magnate William Randolph Hearst, and became known after her kidnapping in 1974 by the Symbionese Liberation Army when she was a college student. Later she appeared in a video declaring she had joined SLA. She was also caught by surveillance cameras conducting a bank robbery and wielding a gun. Patty was found and arrested 19 months after being abducted, by which time she was a fugitive wanted for serious crimes committed with members of the group. At her trial, the prosecution suggested that Hearst had joined the Symbionese Liberation Army of her own volition. However, she testified that she had been raped and threatened with death while held captive. In 1976, she was convicted for the crime of bank robbery and sentenced to 35 years in prison, later reduced to 7 years. Her sentence was commuted by President Jimmy Carter, and she was later pardoned by President Bill Clinton.
Ran to the grocery store, and it was starting to snow, and the next thing we knew, we heard that I was pardoned.
Number 8, Genene Jones. Jones was a pediatric nurse in Texas who killed several infants, injecting them with drugs such as digoxin, heparin, and later succinylcholine to induce medical crises in her patients, causing numerous deaths. The exact number of victims remain unknown, although it's thought to be around 60. She had a wicked idea of shooting to fame by endangering children and saving them before the public. However, things didn't go according to plan and several children died from heart paralysis and breathing problems. Jones was caught, but evidence was scarce. After extensive hearing, she was found guilty of 1 murder and sentenced to 99 years in prison. Due to the mandatory early release law covering Jones' original convictions, she would otherwise have been released upon completion of a third of the original sentence. New charges were filed to prevent her release. In April 2018, a judge in San Antonio denied a request to dismiss 5 new murder indictments against Jones. On January 16, 2020, Jones pleaded guilty to the murder of 11-month-old Joshua Sawyer on December 12, 1981, as part of a plea deal in which 4 other charges were dropped. She was sentenced to life in prison. Number 7, Karla Homolka. Karla Homolka was an active participant in several rapes and murders with her husband Paul Bernardo. She attracted worldwide attention when she was convicted in the 1991 and 1992 rape murders of 2 Ontario teenage girls, Leslie Mahaffey and Kristen French, as well as the rape and death of her sister Tammy. The police eventually caught them, but Karla managed to get a lighter sentence than Bernardo due to a plea agreement serving only 12 years. She was released in 2005. Number 6, Diane Downs. One of the worst mothers in history, Diane Downs, tried to kill her children to keep her boyfriend who never wanted kids. Downs shot all 3 of her kids and drove them to the hospital claiming that a man had attempted to carjack her and shot the children. To back up the story, she had inflicted a wound on herself. Sadly, her second child died, but the testimony of her oldest daughter proved the mother's cruel act. She was given a life sentence. A movie named Small Sacrifices was made based on her life story. Number 5. Aileen Wuornos. Aileen Wuornos was an American serial killer who started out as a prostitute at a young age. While working along highways in Florida, she shot dead and robbed 7 of her male clients. Wuornos claimed that her clients had either raped or attempted to rape her, and that all of the homicides were committed in self-defense. She was sentenced to death for 6 of the murders and on October 9, 2002, after 12 years on Florida's death row, was executed by lethal injection. The 2003 film, Monster, documents Wuornos' story from childhood until her execution. Number 4. Griselda Blanco. Known as the Queen of Cocaine and the Black Widow, Griselda Blanco was a Colombian drug lady tied to the Medellin cartel and was not a petty criminal. She was a drug queen and a ruthless one at that. During the 1970s and 80s, she became one of the principal figures in cocaine trade and gang wars in America. She is said to have killed hundreds of people, including her former husbands. She was caught in 1998 and sentenced to 19 years in jail. In 2002, Blanco suffered a heart attack in prison and was later released in 2004. She was shot dead by an anonymous attacker in 2012. Number 3. Lizzie Borden. The prime suspect of the sensational Fall River murders of 1892, Lizzie Borden was featured in one of the gruesome episodes of American history. According to her story, she found her father dead on his couch, covered in blood and his left eyeball split in half. Her stepmother was discovered in the same fashion in a bedroom. Lizzie's testimony was inconsistent and there was an overwhelming amount of evidence against her, including the maid's testimony. Despite this, she was acquitted and the mystery remained unsolved. Borden fell sick in her later years and died of pneumonia on June 1, 1927, in Fall River. Number 2. Bonnie Parker. Bonnie was the accomplice and lover of Clyde Barrow, who together went on a crime spree during the Great Depression. They with their Barrow gang conducted a series of robberies, kidnappings, and murders, evading the police on every occasion. They continued their rampage for 4 years, till they were caught in a planned ambush in 1934. Bonnie and Clyde were shot and killed in the attack, but their legend, notorious as it is, stayed in the popular culture. The 1967 film Bonnie and Clyde globalized their story, and cemented her name as one of the most infamous female criminals ever. Number 1. Mary Ann Cotton. Perhaps the most infamous of woman serial killers, Mary Ann Cotton was one of the cruelest female characters in history. She married 4 times, and all of her husbands and their children died of same type of stomach fever. She inherited large sum of insurance amounts each time, which was bound to arouse suspicions at one point. Eventually, the media caught up with her modus operandi, and she was proven to have poisoned her husbands, friends, and even her mother and children with arsenic. Collectively, she murdered as many as 21 people, including 11 of her children. Of Mary Ann's 13 children, only 2 survived. She was arrested and hanged at Durham County Gaol on the 24th of March 1873. In 2015, a television drama, Dark Angel, was filmed on Mary Ann's life. If this video was informative, please hit that like and subscribe button. Thanks for watching.